next guest covers all things NFC North, which is such a feisty division. You can see her as the host of Fox Sports Saturday on Fox Sports Radio and PFF analyst, Carmen Vitale. What don't you do? Hey.
Hi, I haven't seen you in a while. I don't do this show. I haven't done this show in a while.
Well, you're too busy. You're like too big time for me. I thank you for carving out some time in your schedule, like you carved up that Popeyes turkey, which we will get to. Okay, so we don't have Luke Kuechly on the show. We usually do. And you tweet, I said, do you want to come on the show? Can you come on? And you said, listen, Kuechly's off, so let me take up the Panthers torch a little bit. I thought we were going to come out the gates with, like, let's go Bucks. Let's talk about this. What do you want to talk about with Bryce Young and this Panthers O-line?
I'm still, you know me, my heart is with the Bucks always after working there for so long, and all my guys are still there, but I cannot deny how, Bryce Young is so much fun to watch right now, and it's such a wonderful, heartwarming story, and I think there's a side effect to Bryce Young playing better now, and it's that we're finally giving this Panthers offensive line maybe the credit that it's due, because this is a unit that everybody was so down on last year, and rightfully so. They weren't protecting Bryce Young at all. They did not make his first season in the NFL easy at all. This season, in the offseason, the Panthers really invested in that unit, and you can see it this year. And yes, Bryce Young still got off to a poor start, but a lot of that was not on the offensive line. This last week, 77.1 initial grade from PFF. I'm going to bring those PFF stats in here with me today.
Go.
Top 5 through the late window. So that's one of the best offensive lines of this week. They allowed just 1 sack, just 3 quarterback hurries of Bryce Young, despite the fact that Bryce Young faced the blitz 58% of the time.
Yeah.
He was only under pressure 38% of his dropbacks, though, and that was because of that offensive line. So 104.3 passer rating versus pressure. Again, this offensive line is just holding up really, really well for him. 3 of the 5 starters had above a 69 grade. That's all wonderful stuff when you're talking about, is this sustainable for Bryce Young? Has he really turned a corner? Yeah, he has, and a lot of it has to do with that wall in front of him.
Yeah, and Dan Morgan, who I got to talk to at training camp, he had a lot to do with sort of foundationally fixing that. I mean, Bryce got sacked, 52,000 times last year? It was a huge concern.
Yeah, now that's the exact number.
Yeah, but he's like, that's my PFF number. He's like flexing out there. The body language is confident. This is the kid who's been through so much adversity. We didn't want to draft you, rumors. You're not our guy in the future. We're going to bench you. Then he gets better. Then still, I mean, by the way, it's not just, this team is playing for Dave. Dave is the coach. They have strain. They got it all going on. And Brooks, and the whole time I'm just like, run the ball. Give it to Brooks again. Give it to you. And they were doing their thing, and because the O-line looks so good. I don't even know what I wanted to say. I like this. I love this Panthers win. I love this for Kuechly, for everybody, for Dave. But there's still this, he's our week-to-week starter. Should we name him? Kuechly told me last week he should be named the starter the rest of the way. I don't know the benefit, the risk analysis. Is he a better player when he's playing in the corner all the time? I'm playing for my job every week. He certainly looks like a bit of a different player from before the benching. And now I'm seeing, Mina tweeted yesterday, now we've got our guy. Now we can focus on the defense. And I'm like, wait, do we have our guy? Do you think the Panthers are convinced this is the guy more than just week to week this year?
Yeah, I really do, because you also look at that, 25-yard touchdown to Adam Thielen with the game on the line. I mean, that is the most high-pressure situation you could have possibly been in if you're Bryce Young at the end of that game, and he delivered. So that just kind of shows you that something has clicked with him and that he's gotten beyond whatever the mental stuff that he needs to get beyond is. And I don't think that there's anything that you can really put on him at this point that's going to drastically affect, I think we need to give Bryce Young a little bit more credit than that.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's able to bounce back and overcome adversity within games against a division opponent, things get weird. Todd Bowles brings a whole lot of mess when it comes to pressure packages and blitz packages and all this kind of stuff. And Bryce Young held up so much so that at the end of the game, he comes in clutch for his team. Now, overtime is a little bit of a different story, but again, these are weird games. The fact that Tampa forced overtime and was able to do that, I mean, you ride that momentum into overtime, and the fact that the Bucks have just kind of figured out how to gut these things out, and as a team, that can't be put on Bryce Young. I really do think that the Panthers have their quarterback, and it's such a fun story because he went through so much early in his career, but he's coming out the other side. And you're right, it's a testament to Dave Canales in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways. I mean, even just what he looked like against Kansas City, I was ready to say he's the guy then. I just didn't know that was the opinion of those people who are smarter than me like you. Can we quickly talk about Adam Thielen's gritty? I literally laughed out loud. No, this is not the angle I wanted. This isn't even it. But this is the angle from the back of the end zone. He scores, it's automatic. I hate that we picked that angle. I asked in the morning meeting. Sorry, Carm. He literally looks like he's an extra in Wicked. Like he is just nutcrackering, put some ballet slippers on him. It is like the funniest, most extra dance I've ever seen. It was unbelievable.
I identify with this so heavy just because of the fact that he is a millennial, we are millennials, and like we have no business doing any of this kind of stuff. And it's so blatantly obvious when they do it. And it's great though. Like good for Adam Thielen. He had such a wonderful game.
Oh, and he got that one touchdown didn't count. He was so pissed. And then he finally, and then it worked out. I just had to show that. Not the angle. There's such a better angle. I was laughing out loud. How about the Bucs defense? You're talking about the mess, right? Yeah. They show up in overtime. They get the win. What have you seen out of the Bucs offense to make you think? And I was talking to, I know you're jealous, Lavonte David last week. He said they're going to make a run. They can make a run. Can they make a run offensively?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like what Liam Cohen has done, and because of the fact that he's diversified the run game. And Bucky Irving is one of the most fun players in the NFL right now. He's such a cult favorite in Tampa Bay. I wanted to give him his shine on this program, especially because I know that you are supportive and this is a pro Bucky program. But the 152 rushing yards, 33 more yards through the air. He led the league this week in yards after contact. Woo! This kid was a bowling ball. And this is what you need, too, to kind of balance out this Bucs offense, especially when you have a quarterback like Baker, who I am a huge believer in, but you can't deny that he takes you on a little bit of a roller coaster sometimes. So you need kind of this baseline, calming presence of a run game that you can rely on, and it's Bucky Irving. And I think there's so many fantasy owners too that are so incredibly excited about this because the Bucs have had this wonderful rotation in the offensive backfield between Bucky, between my Sun Devil brethren, Rachaad White. It's been a really kind of good mix of different guys, and that's not great for fantasy numbers, but then Bucky Irving goes off in this game and just kind of, again, was the guy that you needed him to be. Despite the fact, too, I talked about how he had all those yards after contact. That was needed because he faced so many stacked boxes in this game. Season high, 32% of his carries came against a stacked box of 8 guys or more. And even with all of that, he has a career day. So I love this offense.
I love him. I noticed him last week and the last couple of weeks picking up some volume. He's elusive. He was elusive back in college. I was looking at all the numbers. He's a league winner in fantasy. So that's why he was like on my radar. We're going to bring Hamilton in here. We're going to take a break soon here in a second. But Hamilton and I, we're having Lavonte David. In the morning, I'm like, well, let's talk about Vita Vea being a lead blocker. And like, we're not going to ask Lavonte David about Bucky Irving. And then he pops up. So I was just like, Hamilton, Bucky. And then I get this text this morning that Carmen wants to talk about Bucky. Hamilton thinks he created Bucky Irving. Hamilton thinks he was on the map of him. Take this. This is a Bucky Irving show, Hamilton. And he's getting real estate when I want him to.
I don't understand what we're fighting about right now.
That you didn't want to ask Lavonte David about the breakout of Bucky Irving, and then he broke out, and we should have had that moment with Lavonte. That's what we're talking about. And now you've got Carmen, who's smarter than me, and the backfield belongs to Irving now. Oh my gosh, these Vikings, they pull out a close one against the Cardinals. When you look at Sam, clutch Sam, okay? December, as people are saying. What's impressive to you?
His kind of comeuppance as far as like all of the mental stuff behind it. Yes. You could see there was such a thing made about a couple years ago, Sam Darnold seeing ghosts and he's not comfortable and all this other stuff. And that was all right. He was not comfortable in the pocket. He did not know which way to go. He was not processing well. None of the mental side of the game was clicking for him. And that's where a guy like Kevin O'Connell comes in. And the way that he's able to develop quarterbacks, make things easy on them, scheme things up so that you can still get Justin Jefferson sometimes isolated. This wasn't the best game as an example of that, but the fact that Justin Jefferson is still as productive as he is when every defense knows to key in on him, it's all a testament to the scheme. And Sam Darnold is running it to almost perfection. I know that he's had some turnover issues, but he also has the resilience to kind of shake it off these days. And there was that the touchdown to Johnny Munt this last game against the Cardinals.
Like, huh? Yeah.
He steps up in the pocket. He's got a free rusher coming off the left side. He just goes whoop whoop, and then gets in front of him, fires that ball to the end zone because his eyes never leave downfield. He's never actually worried about it. And he's able to bounce back so quickly. It's such a wonderful thing to see because this really did just kind of change the trajectory of his entire career, this stop in Minnesota, because I do think it'll still be a stop, but he's going to go on and have future success elsewhere. The stuff that he has learned in Minnesota is sustainable.
We'll see about JJ, of course, the Daniel Jones signing. We spent too much time talking about Bucky Irving, so we're going to wrap it on Chicago. Let's effing talk about this. Thomas Brown, he's the interim guy. Life moved pretty fast for Thomas Brown. He was like a coordinator 7 seconds ago. Who do you want? Who's the lead choice for head coach?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know. It's a question of what do I want or what do I think they should do versus what they will do. This is an organization that is trying to build a new stadium. This is an organization that does not spend money on coaches. This is an organization that has dysfunction at every level at this point. So I just do not necessarily trust them to make the right call. But you need to get someone in there that is first and foremost going to develop Caleb Williams. That's all that matters at this point, and then set the team up for success. You have the talent on this roster.
It sounds like they're going with a defensive curmudgeon-y guy, like a Vrabel, though, from what I'm hearing.
I would actually love Vrabel, but he just needs to bring in a really good offensive coordinator. That's
Cliff
totally
Kingsbury?
fine by me.
Can Cliff be a head coach?
Is he going to be a coordinator, or does he want a head coaching job again?
I'm sure he wants one. Should he be one? That's the question. Carmen, love that. Thank you.